Alrighty then, taking a break from packing, bring you another episode of Answering Your Financial Questions. We are live from Columbus, OH, and this is, as I said, alrighty then, Answering Your Financial Questions Live, number 187 this time. And you're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. And on that page, for my financial content, just scroll down past the Oak Island and Skinwalker Ranch playlist. Then you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist. That happens on the days that it happens. It happens at 11:05 a.m. right after the newest to YouTube Ramsey Show ends. And also the Answering Your Financial Questions. And that is an 8 p.m. stream that I do normally on weekdays when I can't do the after show due to work scheduling usually. Sometimes other reasons, things happen. And when I can't do the after show, that's when I would normally do that night and Answering Your Financial Questions. Also Saturday and or Sunday. If I do financial streams then, it would be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Answering Your Financial Questions. And the music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. Check those out if you are so inclined. You might enjoy them. Let's get into the questions. A couple people posted, and so not quite out of Reddit questions yet. Let's see, Deer Hunter 0321. How are you affording a stay-at-home mom? Stay-at-home mother. How are you affording that? So is this like just somebody you hired to watch your kids? I mean, it sounds very dismissive of the stay-at-home mother to me. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Who knows? Anyway, let's see. Hey everyone, hi guys. So my partner and I, if you're not married, you shouldn't be shacked up, shouldn't be having a kid, blah, 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 all of that. And I've been talking a lot about the possibility of her becoming a stay-at-home mom. We live in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, and the cost of living here is higher than other places. So move to those other places then, if you want to have a stay-at-home mom happen. So that would be it. You lower your expenses, and the one thing you can do to lower your expenses is move away from high cost of living areas that are, and so it's so nutty. People are so nutty. Cost of living here is higher than other places. Well, then you can't do a lot of things that you want to do. You have to pick and choose, and you are sacrificing. It's called sacrificing those things in order to be able to continue to live in a high cost of living area. The best thing to do in a high cost of living area is to make high cost of living money. And if you're not doing it, and granted, you might be doing it now together, as long as both of you are working separately, different jobs, bringing home different monies, then you might be able to afford it, but then also then now you can't. Now, and this is also what you need to think about ahead of time. And hey, got a great idea. Let's talk about this before we got married, and maybe you are, because you're talking about a partner and not a spouse. So that is not the Ramsey advice. You would not be doing anything financially together. You wouldn't be having a child together either. Get married. But as far as the other place, don't be ridiculous. Don't be dumb. You have to spend less money on certain things then, if one of you is going to stop working. I'm expecting to make a jump soon to $90K a year. Until that happens, shouldn't be considered. but I'm still not sure how we would do that. What are you guys doing / making for work to afford that? How much are you saving for retirement? Any tips or advice would be greatly appreciated. All right, and people that ask stuff like this are nutty for another reason as well, because everybody's expenses are not the same, so other people might not have to cut anything out, but you do. Don't be dumb. You know the things that aren't necessary that you're spending money on now with the two incomes. You got to find whatever she's making, that's how much out of the budget you have to cut out. Now, but also you can add back in daycare if you are currently paying for daycare. So you have to do that math there. And so what is it that you can't figure out? There's no magic button. Just like everything with the Ramsey advice, it's generally going to be hard work and sacrifice. There's no easy button for that. And so tips or advice would be greatly appreciated. First, get a brain. Second, use it. And you have to either make more money. So you may end up having to take a part-time job in addition to that. Or you could move. And a lot of people don't even think about that because they don't want to. So they don't even have that as an option. But that's certainly an option. Whether you choose to do it or not is up to you. But that would be how you do that. That's the same. It's the same thing. It's no different at all. Just because moms and babies are involved doesn't mean the math is any different from, say, you have a dual income thing happening and you buy a house payment. Even if you do stay within the Ramsey guidelines of 25% of your the payment being 25% or less of your take-home pay. But then all of a sudden, oh, I have a baby now. I want to stay home with my baby. And even if dad is fine with that and is totally on board with that, hey, guess what? Now you don't make enough money for that house. And so you might have to sell the house and move down in house. And you shouldn't have bought it in the first place then, if you even suspected that this might even be a possibility. Also, same reason, like I always harp on, also, ladies, do not take out student loans because guess what? Even if you graduate, even if you like your field, even if you manage to get a job in that field and make a lot of money, you might meet a guy, get married, and have a baby and want to stay home with that baby. Then how are those student loans going to get paid? And 0% of young ladies think about that. You know, and that's why, I mean, at 18, people are far too dumb at 18. The average 18-year-old is far too dumb to be signing for that much money. Student loan. And so that's why the general advice of no loans is great. Ramsey advice to follow. Pausing a little bit too much, sound a little bit like Captain Kirk there. This from Rustic Kayak 207. Ramsey worthy? I'm a retiree. Is that Ramsey worthy? What do you mean Ramsey worthy? You mean would he approve? Let's find out. Why don't we read it? Read it, Steve, and you'll find out. It has ellipses there at the end, so that means it was too big to fit on the page, but not that much. So it's not War and Peace here. Let's see. My spouse and I, oh look, a spouse, an actual spouse this time. Imagine that. And I have always been savers, and we did a good job not having credit card debit. That would be debt. Debit is a different thing. Two completely different words. Although they both have to do with money. We saved for retirement and helped our kids get through college. Now we're retired. Great. Good job. except for the spelling. Great job. Between taking 4% from retirement accounts, getting Social Security, and earning around $10,000 a year in little projects, we are doing fine paying our bills and having enough money to travel and such. Great. At some point, we may have a several $100,000 inheritance. Okay. From a parent. Depending on cost, this parent incurs in their final years, but we haven't felt the need to take that money into consideration in our planning. Right, you will. I mean, you shouldn't. You shouldn't until you get it, and then you can change your plans. The second you get that money, if you do get it, then you can change your plans. You may also put off decisions because of that as well. That's very logical. However, I'm curious if you think Dave Ramsey would have problems with a few things with our financial situation. Here we go. If you are asking, you know darn well that he would not be on board with it. Let's see. Or you're either delusional about what the Ramsey advice is. One or the other is happening here. Our basics are $1.3 million in retirement savings, $100K in mutual funds, and about $36,000. But okay, all right. So you see, and people, I mean, either they don't understand, or they are just using the wrong words to say something that they do understand. Okay, so $1.3 million in retirement savings. Theoretically, that would be a retirement account. Theoretically, 401k, IRA, something like that. Okay, and what is in there is not just cash, generally. Guess what's going to be in there mutually? Guess what's going to be in there actually? Mutual funds. So people are nutty, and a lot of people talk like this, and they do have an idea about what it actually means, and they do know that mutual funds are in there. But generally when they say this, they mean they have mutual funds in retirement savings, plus they have mutual funds in a brokerage account, which is fine to do after you pay off the house in step 6 and are on step 7. So this probably means brokerage account, so it's not retirement savings. And if they wanted to retire a little early, maybe it's a brokerage account for a bridge, what's called a bridge fund, bridge account. And about $36K between our checking and savings account plus a small CD. Mr. Ramsey, not a fan of CDs because the money's locked behind a penalty if you need to get it for a reason, and you'll make about the same interest in a freaking high yield savings account. So why not do that? You know, a banker talk you into a CD, or you saw a CD on the TikTok or whatever the old person version of that is, Facebook, I guess. And so you did a CD, or you learned that from your parents or something like that. But ridiculous to do that. Do high yield savings account instead. A few months ago, we had $40,000 more in the checking plus saving plus CD, but we gave some to a grown child to help pay for our wedding and bought a low mileage 3-year-old car. Okay, if you are retired and on step 7, what is the problem with that? I don't see any problem with that. Why would that be a problem? Normally we run our cars until they are dead. Why didn't we do that this time? I would just want to ask, what changed this time? If you are doing something and it's working, why change it? We wanted a new car. We are going to sell our other car, which only has 75,000 miles on it, despite being 2017. Okay. I mean, that's see, I don't care about cars. If the older one was working just fine, I would see no need to buy another one. So, you know, there would have to be something wrong with it, and not just I felt like it. But again, if you're in step 7, retired and in good shape, there wouldn't be a problem. So the $1.3 million in retirement savings, we'll just leave the 100K in the brokerage account, which I think this is the brokerage account. So that 1.3 making 10%, that will generate what's that, 130,000 a year. And so if you can live on that, that's fine, regardless of you saying. And if you're only taking out 4% now, and this year, in the past 1 year, it's made like I think it's down a little bit now. It was 26% of the S&P 500, and now I think it's down to 25. Market was up today though, so it may be back up to 26%. And so you're making even more than, and that's why you don't have to just take out 4%. If you make 10 average, you can take out 8 average with no problem. And of course, your standard financial advice is the 4%, but I don't give a crap about the standard financial advice. It does not work out mathematically. And also, guess what? The people saying 4%, they have no idea what your expenses will be in the future when you retire. So what if that's not enough? They don't have an answer for that one. They don't talk about that. They just say they're, oh, we gotta do 4% to be safe. Anyway, if you, back to this question here, or this comment / question. Wants to know if, I guess, he's Ramsey worthy or if the plan is Ramsey worthy. Still don't see what the plan is, but like so far, helping pay for wedding and upgrading car in your, what the perceived position I think you are. I mean, I would ask a couple more questions to make sure you were all good. To make sure that the house is paid off, because it doesn't say step 7 here. So you would not be doing a bunch of this dumbass crap if your house wasn't paid off. You would not have the $100,000 in a brokerage account. That would be applied to the house. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. As of October 1st, we have $7,000 left in a low interest mortgage with a monthly payment of $749. Dumbass. And this person knows darn well that he should have paid the house off, especially before upgrading your stupid car. But before even opening this brokerage account that has $100,000 in it, you can't take 7 out of that, which should have already been done months and months and months ago, maybe even years ago. This house should have been paid off. You're a dumbass if you do it any other way. Too much risk. You're debt leveraging. If you want to live a debt leverage life, knock yourself out. You make the money. You have to live with any consequences. Go ahead and do it. I fully support you. But that's going to be, but you don't have to then say, because you know damn well that you're a dumbass and you're not doing it the Ramsey way. You already know that. That's why you asked. So what's your overall assessment Ramsey-wise? And it's the same thing as everybody else, my friend. Or most other people, my friend. Let's see if George can help you out with this.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. And again, fine. But since you already know, I don't believe that there's no way this person doesn't know that he should have paid off the freaking house. There's no way. There's no way. If so, we have another kind of problem here. How you didn't figure that out, I don't know. You know, I mean, I guess it's possible. I'm trying to imagine a world where somebody looks at this list of the baby steps one time, says he's following Ramsey, then eventually posts on the Ramsey subreddit, and that was the only time they ever looked at the baby steps. So this person, I'm confident, 100% knows he did it wrong. So overall assistant Ramsey-wise, and it's not Ramesses. He's not a pharaoh. Anyway, should we have more in an easily? Oh, not even concerned about the house at all. Not even concerned about the house at all. I don't think. Let's see. Should we have more in an easily accessible emergency fund? You should have an easily accessible emergency fund already. That's step 3, my friend. And why don't you have that? I mean, I thought that would be the 40,000. Or no, not the 40,000. This 36,000 between checking and savings. I would have thought that would have been it. So yeah. I mean, worst comes to worst, you have emergency, you could cash out the CD and take the penalty. So, silly me, I assumed that emergency fund was taken care of. You would not have more than 6 months in one of those things unless your freaking house was paid off. We do have to do some work around the house, like fix the roof. Who said? If it's broken, a whole new roof is not always necessary. So how about get 3 or 8 additional estimates on that, quotes on that, for them to see what's wrong with it. Don't say we might need a new roof. Just say what the problem is. Oh, there's one leak in one area, and have them take a look at it. And then if there's a new roof, they'll tell you. Or sometimes, unfortunately, if you don't need a new roof, but they want to sell you a new roof, they'll still quote you a new roof and tell you you need it. Should we pay off the mortgage right now or just keep paying it since there's so little time left, less than a year? Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. It's only that way. It would have already been paid off if you were less of a dumbass. You're so dumb. I can't believe that you don't know that that's what you already should have done. So unfortunately, despite the, otherwise being decent with money, it looks like, and doing the retirement, despite that, you get an F on Ramsey Wise for me, because you're being too stupid. You're doing stuff that other people do and that Mr. Ramsey never told you to do. He didn't tell you to do any of your dumb crap. He didn't say a CD. He didn't say don't pay off the house. He didn't say upgrade the car while you still have a mortgage. He didn't tell you to do any of that stuff in his advice, and yet you did it anyway because you're a dumbass. Quit being a dumbass. Alrighty. Oh yeah, we'll be doing some budget questions maybe. Oh, we should do one. I meant to do one first. Dual income household budget tracker. I skimmed this one. I don't think there's much to say about this. That's especially these people on the budgets, the r/budget subreddit. I assume they're not Ramsey people, because that's what you should assume about everybody, because such a small percentage is willing to not always just follow the calculator with their financial stuff. And even that guy, even that retiree who probably is under the false impression that he's doing a lot of right stuff, but he knew damn well he was not doing it correctly. Otherwise, why post? Why post on there? Why try to get other people's opinions on it? If you know you're already doing Dave's advice the way Dave says to do his advice, then why would you be asking other people, just average people that don't have anywhere near Dave's experience nor his track record? Why would you do that? Because you knew darn well you were doing it wrong and you did it anyway. One last thing on that. Could be some dumbass attempt to work around the spouse who is the one that wants to do all of this stuff. And so you just write it out and say, yeah, we did all this, but it was all her idea. So maybe something like that. And then you could say, oh, I wanted to get somebody else's opinion. Oh, look what they told me. They told me that's not the Ramsey advice. She may not give a crap about the Ramsey advice, and you just think she does. Who knows? Do you have a talk about that is before you put it in the Reddit. Before you get married, even. Let's see. But the dual income household budget tracker. So you see, when you get married, we combine all that stuff so it's all together and it's ours. If you insist on keeping it separate, though, again, probably not following Ramsey's advice on anything, but still want to do a budget, which is good to do. I'm sure you can make a spreadsheet do just about anything you want to make it do. Where there is one like that, I have no idea. Looking for a budget template, and I'm sure somebody's made one, got a great idea. You would have better luck Googling it instead of asking it in the subreddit. And quit being a dumbass. Of course. Shawnee G313, how much should I be spending on myself? Since that wasn't really that wasn't a good one, I'm going to do a second one. How much should I be spending on myself? Very little. Almost nothing in steps 1, 2, and 3. Again, people not following Ramsey, but that's going to be the advice that I would give anybody. Hey everyone, peculiar situation I've never actually been in before in my life. 24, on track to make 100K this year, gross for the first time. Great. Worked 2 jobs to make this happen. Great. Not afraid of hard work. Excellent. But it's still happening. Okay. My income fluctuates monthly as I do take a day or weekend off every now and then, because otherwise I work 7 days a week. Okay, that's fine too. Long story short, my primary job, taxes, healthcare, 401k brings in $722 a week. I get either $450 or $1,100 every 2 weeks from my second job. It depends on. Okay, I never take 2 weekends in a row off as a rule, so the minimum I bring in. Okay. I also have rental income. Okay. Where's the rental income from my roommate of $800 a month? This includes bills. Yes, I know it's way low, but it's because he's my brother and we came to an agreement. Okay. This brings in an average net monthly income of $52.38. Most months it's higher than that, but for argument's sake, let's say it's 5,238, and anything extra is a win. Yes, that is how you should do it. You should budget on the lowest you would be making any particular month. Make bi-weekly mortgage payments with extra principal added, so I pay $1,000 every 2 weeks towards my mortgage. I know months and weeks don't add up exactly, so I round it up to say, and that's fine too for just a general question. You don't need to know the exact numbers unless you're actually doing a budget. That's when you'll see that when you do the math. For my pay $1,000 every 2 weeks, and so so that's over. So it's $2,167 monthly average is what it is. Paying the $1,000, I guess, every 2 weeks. Actual mortgage with escrow is $1,460. I'm doing this to pay my mortgage down faster, and that is the advice. Now, the problem would be, of course, if you have non-mortgage debt, and that would be you're doing it wrong, which, again, it's not a Ramsey subreddit. It's the budget subreddit. My monthly expenses, other than that, are as follows: car insurance, 100, DTE, 200, rounding up. I don't know what DTE is. Is that electric or is that utility? I don't know what that is. Subscription 60, gasoline 300. If you can stop running the road, stop running the road. Stop going to the grocery store every day. How about you buy more when you go to the grocery store and maybe go every other day, or even more you buy when you're there the first time, and then you don't have to go buy maybe for the entire week. But some people can't seem to do that. I think they have to go every day. Food and other household expenses for 100. That's not bad. I got 100 a week. It says other household expenses, so but like on just groceries and eating out, I can do 50. So you could cut that back. Internet 65. That's good on that. Water 80. It's a lot for water. All those totals 23371. Okay. And expenses mainly driven up by my mortgage. Not drove up, driven up. My income being 5238. Oh, and we're comparing that. So you got 1900 difference. How much is okay to spend on myself at this point? Okay, I didn't see anything about non-mortgage debt here. Fully funded emergency fund. Might be a Ramsey person after all. Of 3 months of bills. I have no revolving debt other than my mortgage. I pay my cards every month. That's still debt. So you're doing it wrong if you're trying to follow Dave Ramsey's advice, which bringing up the fully funded emergency fund, that's Ramsey talk there. So don't know what you're doing here. I'm trying to mix the best of advices, and that sometimes can be very harmful. I have 1900 in surplus a month. My math was correct. And I'm wondering how much was okay to blow on fun. I was thinking budget 800 and just keep saving the other 1,000 for a rainy day and grow my emergency fund to 6 months. But I just want to hear people's thoughts on it. I know this seems like rich people's problems, but I've generally never had this much cash flow in my life. I'd appreciate the help. Okay. No, I mean, it is basically a budget issue. And so, because you are trying to budget, so it's not really rich people's problems. You could have this problem even with a low income. But see, the problem here is going to be, what's the reason you just did 3 months for your emergency fund? And see, the 3 months, having the 3, 2, 6 months, that's Ramsey stuff. And so why are you doing that part from Dave? Because you liked it? And you're not doing his other advice. Because his other advice, of course, so that's why I would ask him, why did you only do 3 then? And why do you want to do 6 now? You know, maybe there was some debt and he was able to pay it off. So that would be a good reason, and probably shouldn't have done 3 months when he did it. Who knows? Who knows? So that's what I would ask about that, because it's really sus. I've had people, friends of mine even, that have had X amount in savings forever, and then all of a sudden they're fine with having less money in savings because they found some hot investment or something like that. And so that you're being intellectually dishonest with yourself when you do that. And so I would ask about that, but 3 or 6 months is perfectly fine for a high earner, for single person as well. You know, you do have to think about out of the back of your mind, the $800 from your brother. Since you make $900 different, even in the downest month you have, 1900, that 800 you could still cover that for your mortgage, even if your brother flakes out and can't pay you or something like that, or just moves out, meets somebody, moves to Vegas with some young lady. And so you would think about that. But the problem here, the non-Ramsey stuff, of course, using cards and paying them off every month to try to win against the bet, to get cash back or freaking reward points, that is not advised. Also, you should be paying off the mortgage faster. So, but that also puts you in step 4, 5, and 6, unless you want your emergency fund to be 6 months, and then guess what? You're in step 3 still. And so you should chill out on the having fun until that's 6 months. And then once that is in place, and you're on steps 4, 5, and 6, that is when you would have basically carte blanche to spend whatever you want on stuff, because you would be putting it in the budget. You can put an expensive vacation in the budget. You just start a sinking fund, which is a type of savings for that particular purpose of vacation, and you would be putting money in there. But the idea is that you are constantly doing, once you're on steps 4, 5, and 6, that you are constantly doing them. Now, it doesn't have any babies, so you can skip step 5. So you are investing, and that should be 15% of your household income into retirement, gross household income. So your gross should be going, 15% of that should be going into retirement. And then the rest, any excess, should be going into paying off the house early. But again, with the caveat that you can be funneling other monies away for vacations. If you want to take a vacation, you can be intentional and do fun stuff. So you can set any amount that you want on that. If you want, it'd be great if the person would say what he or she was thinking. Assuming a man, baby. Like what you were thinking. If this is like the difference between a $200 and $300 fund money a month, why not do the 200 and see if you even spend that? Because you might not even spend that. And then you're putting, at this point, $1,700 extra. You're already putting a little bit extra on it, but your way of putting extra on it is by just rounding up to that, what was it, $2,000 a week? I don't remember, or $2,000, no, $1,000 every 2 weeks. And so that's $2,000 a month. So just round it up a little bit. That's not what it says to do. It says to pay off your home early, and that's as fast as possible. But you can also have some fun while doing that as well. So, but you shouldn't be investing. There's no just regular investing, no brokerage account, none of that crap while you still have a mortgage. The priority is the mortgage and not doing extra investing. Down to 15% into retirement. So that is the Ramsey advice. And then, of course, as always, the advice that I give. But again, what would be great in this question is that if he says, I was thinking about an X amount of fund money. Now, if he says 1,000, I'm going to go ahead and say, I think that's too much. I don't think you need to spend $1,000 on fun stuff. And that's even going, even if you wanted to say, start at 500 and see if you feel okay spending that. Because, again, this is all based on the lowest it would possibly be. And it's normally a lot more than the lowest it would possibly be. So that difference he could put all to the mortgage early. And so, yeah, the idea is to get to step 7 really fast. And the more money you make and the cheaper your expenses are, the less fun money you spend. The sooner you get there. And then that's not a concern anymore. And then you're just investing, spending, and giving. All right. Self-audit spreadsheet. All right. You can have AI audit it. I don't know what that is. We'll get back into that. Whoops. Retirement targets and investing. More retirement stuff. This is from Finn's Fan 93. I believe I've seen this one before on some posts. And that theoretically would be the Dolphins. Their wide receiver, Miami Dolphins wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, out for the year. And he was on my fantasy team. I'm the only undefeated person in my fantasy league. I don't run it. It was run by the fellas at my new job. And I thought, hey, this will be nice and community-like. So I'll do that. I think the winner gets 40 bucks, I think. Or was it 100? I'm trying to think how many people were playing. Yeah, I think it's only $40. But 40 bucks is 40 bucks. And so I'm the only one 4-0. There's, I think, 2 people 3-1. And then the other 10 or so people are 2-2 or less. What would Dave do? All right. And what is keeping you from knowing exactly what Dave would do? It's not a secret. You can Google it. You can YouTube it, search it. Like whatever your question is here, you can YouTube Dave Ramsey and retirement targets. Or something like that. But regardless, you just are Dave Ramsey retirement investing. And he will tell you, like, for example, this person wants to know what exactly to invest in. Mr. Ramsey will tell you that generally without naming specific funds. And you can take your lazy butt to the internet and find those managed mutual funds that beat the index, or if you don't want to teach yourself how to do it, or you're incapable of doing something like that, you can hire a Smart Investor Pro or some other investment professional to teach you how to do it, or to just tell you what to do, and you just take their word for it that it's a good idea. Hi everyone, my wife and I are currently on baby step 6, working on paying off our mortgage early. Excellent. And I wanted some investment advice because Dave gives nebulous investing advice. No, he just doesn't tell you exactly what funds to buy, you lazy blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I recognize that my wife and I are in an exceptionally great pace financially. I don't know that. Because I don't trust you. I don't trust you until you actually let me know. I'm going to think there was some guy that thought he was on step 6, but he had step 2 debt still. So guess what? Not in step 6. He's in step 2. Let's see. For background, my wife 32 and I 32, both 32. So 30 years in the market still, plenty of time. Have 600K combined in our 401ks. Fabulous. We both have high-paying engineering jobs and have contributed 15% plus of our salaries since we entered the workforce out of college. Okay, so something that Mr. Ramsey advises that is not nebulous. Does it say 15% plus here? No, it doesn't. And you know why it doesn't say that? It just says 15%. And why is it capped at that? So you can pay off your freaking house early. And say for kid college if that applies to you. So you can pay that off early so you don't do more investing, because keeping a mortgage around so you can have extra investments is debt leverage. And so that's a NAR from Mr. Ramsey. You're doing it wrong. We have no debt beyond our house. Great. We also have 120K invested in an SP index fund and a Caswell brokerage account. And should you have that? No. And you should, I don't know. Maybe the dumbass doesn't know he's doing it wrong. Or maybe does know he's doing it wrong, and he just wants to get the okay from other people on here, which he will, because a lot of people do that debt leverage crap where if they got a mortgage, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe they're paying 2%, and in the past year, the S&P 500 has made about 26% per year. And so they are just using the calculator and they call that a win and they call it a day, which is fine. But again, if you think that's fine, Why are you seeking permission from somebody? Why are you trying to get somebody to agree with you? Why don't you just do it and be happy? I don't understand these people. That way of thinking, I do not understand at all. Oh yeah, they said they're doing the 529 count of funding monthly. Okay, yes. Taxable brokerage account? No. All of that money goes into paying the house off early. So you're doing it wrong. Unfathomable to me as a country bumpkin that grew up in the sticks. Well, if you understand math, you understand the numbers, it may just be a lot. And it may be overwhelming you, but it shouldn't be unfathomable. That's probably a little exaggeration, because just maybe you thought you would never have that money. But if you leave it in there, and unless Rome falls, which Rome falls every time, the new Rome always falls, and so eventually could happen. Whether it does it in your lifetime, probably not, if I had to guess. Anyway, even if we stop contributing entirely, a coast fire, would this be fixed income, retire early? Calculator that I used indicated that we already have sufficient funds in the account to stop working at 55 without adding another cent and just allowing compound growth alone to take over. Yeah, and you probably can. I don't have any problem with that. But you know what would make that much better? That situation much better? If your house was already paid off as soon as possible. That would make it even more likely that it would be fine for you to retire at 55. We have a healthy monthly surplus from our take-home pay. And if you got a surplus, guess where that should be going? To the house. You're doing it wrong, and you know darn well you're doing it wrong. I've been primarily focusing on the brokerage account, and that's doing it wrong. You should not even have that while you still have a mortgage. You're doing it wrong. Given that even without your saving account making 4% right now, I'm beating my mortgage rate. That is called debt leveraging, and you know darn well Mr. Ramsey does not advise debt leverage. My question is, does it make sense to reduce our 401k contribution down to the match of our company's essentially 6%, given how well we have funded the account so far? This additional money that this would yield us, we could plug into our house along with the monthly surplus and pay it off quicker. Yeah. Well, no, you don't do that. You do the 15%. But you don't do the brokerage account. Using the Ramsey calculator, we could be effectively debt-free in 2028. $4K a month extra payment. Yeah, probably even sooner than that if you stop doing your dumbass brokerage account stuff. And you liquefy the brokerage account and you put all that money on the house. Because you should not even have that while you still have a mortgage. You're doing it wrong, and I bet you know that you are. But again, as we all know, newsflash, people are nutty, and it would not surprise me if people, the way people think sometimes, that they just came up with the idea to do the brokerage account one day, and now when they're thinking about money, they don't even think about the possibility of stopping their dumbass crap of putting money in the brokerage account instead of paying off the mortgage. Guess what? After you pay off the mortgage, you can put as much in the brokerage account as you want, including the mortgage payment. You idiot. Dumb. People are nutty. I don't know if you knew that. So none of the nebulous investing advice. What do you mean nebulous investing advice? So I thought the nebulous investing advice means because he doesn't tell you exactly what to invest in, but he does tell you not to do a darn brokerage account. I mean, the exception would be if you had to get up to 15% gross of your income, but other than that, you don't. invest. That's pretty straightforward to me. And I don't know why you don't know that. I mean, I guess it's possible if you don't dig in far enough, if you don't even say Google it or do a YouTube search for clips on it where they say it all the time that you should be paying the house off instead of investing more. So I don't trust him. I think he knows it already, and he's either just cut that out as a possibility. And I think a lot of times when people write these posts and questions, they also don't ever think of that. Oh, if I put this on, if I put this down here, if I write this exactly like that, somebody's going to bring up, well, why aren't you following Dave's advice to pay off the house instead of investing more? That, like, never comes across their head for some reason. Dumb. What would Dave do? Not your dumbass crap that you're doing. And until further notice, I'm not buying that you didn't know that already. So you're dumb. 36 people commented. Maybe somebody said, oh, hey, don't do that crap is not nebulous. That's pretty straightforward. Pay off the house early. Now, granted, it doesn't necessarily mean ASAP, but I think it may say ASAP if you click on it. Click on it. Let's see. Imagine that will feel for your home to be 100% yours. No mortgage payment is where you focus on paying off your home early. When you're intentional about tacking your mortgage, that doesn't sound like, oh, but also do an investment account if you want to, a taxable brokerage account, in addition to your retirement. It doesn't scream that, though, for sure. So, I don't know. Maybe the guy didn't know it. And if he didn't know it, you should have done more Googling, and then you would have known it. But don't complain about the nebulous advice unless you've at least Googled it once. Financial Air, 8888. That's 48. Banking setup. What's your banking account setup? What you talking about, Willis? We have a checking and sinking / buffer savings account at a regional brick and mortar bank. Then we have our emergency fund and Capital One high yield savings account, currently 3.5% interest. I'm just curious how others manage their checking and savings / emergency account. Okay, the only problem here, sinking savings is fine. Sinking account is fine for known upcoming expenses. What we don't have is a buffer, because that money could be, especially in baby steps 1, 2, and 3, that money could be used on whatever baby step you're on instead. So we don't have a buffer or sluff funds. Sluff? I don't know what that is. A slush fund to cover things when we're just being dumb. So be smarter and don't have that. You can have a sinking fund for things like, oh, you know that tires are going to wear out and need to be replaced eventually. And so maybe you start saving a little bit for that. Sure, that's fine. You know you're going to need a tune-up. At X amount of interval. That's fine. Put a little in the sinking fund for that. You have to be intentional with that money, not a buffer for anything we might do that's stupid. Doing that is stupid, and so that money should be applied to whatever baby step you're on. So, but otherwise, other than the buffer thing, you can set up your banking account however you want that keeps you on track with the baby steps and makes you painfully aware sometimes of every dumbass thing you're doing, so that you then don't do it the next month if you see that you've done it the first month. So yeah, and if you have 3 different savings account for 3 different intentional things, that's fine. As long as that keeps you on track. You would like it to not also cost you extra money to have that extra account, though. When to buy home. You don't try to time the market. Oh, that's not the question. That's the user ID. Interesting. Let me answer that first. When to buy a house is when you can afford it. You don't try to time the market. When you have the money for it and you can afford it, it's affordable to you and you're not buying too much house, knock yourself out, buy it. It doesn't matter what the market's doing at that particular time. Emergency fund amount. I would recommend, if you're going to buy a house, already have a house, I would recommend 6 months of expenses, because things break with a house and you can't call the landlord. If you call the landlord and you have a mortgage, your phone's going to ring. I came into an inheritance and we bought a new home for cash. Old home has a 2.5 on 15-year. Will sell in the spring after new roof and cosmetics are finished. You don't have to do that. People are so dumb about that. People are so dumb about that. People are so dumb about that. You don't have to put a lot of money into it to sell it for less. Now, your realtor will not like that, because your realtor makes more money if you put a crap load of money into the house and your realtor could sell it for more. They make more money, but what's best for your finances is to just sell it as is and let the new owner put a new roof and cosmetics on there. So you're being dumb for doing that. All other debt was paid off last month. So I really am not sure how much to keep an high yield savings account as. You have a mortgage still, so 6 months is what I would recommend, because stuff will break in your house. Because I really don't know what monthly expenses will be. And so is all that, did you already pay for the new roof and cosmetics? Did you already pay for that? If you can get out of that immediately, and don't do that tough crap to your realtor. As I really don't know what monthly expenses will be. You know approximately what they'll be. How different could it be? Unless it's a way, way, way bigger house. Rest of our cash will sit in a brokerage account. From what? Oh, after you sell the house? It should be applied to the new mortgage. Oh no, they bought a new home for cash. Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you're in step 7, you can have that, but you might want to take advantage of, if you're not maxing out your retirement accounts now, you got until tax day of 2026 to contribute to 2025. And so you can go ahead and max out 2025, and then if you still have that much, you can max out 2026, or put money in there anyway, even if it doesn't max it out of 2026. You can do that on January 1st. But maybe you have other things you want to do with the money. My question is, how many months should I track expenses to determine a healthy emergency fund? Thanks in advance. I would, if you were that worried about it, I would use what you did at the old house, plus maybe another $1,000 on top of that. If you bought a bigger house, if you're really worried about it. But regardless, okay, so won't sell the house. The rest of our cash will sit in a brokerage account. Do you mean from selling the new house, or extra cash you already had? So leaving things out here. So like if you got a ton of money already in a brokerage account, because you can pull from that brokerage account if your expenses are too high, so it's not that really that big of a problem. Because the emergency fund is not to pay expenses anyway. That's not what it is. I mean, if you lose your jobs, then maybe you do have to use the emergency fund to pay for that. But generally, like, it would be more for like a medical emergency or something like that, and the amount is just derived from the monthly expenses to get a good amount in there. So yeah, I would maybe go with what your 6-month emergency fund is now, and maybe add another $1,000, and then you can see once you get in the house. Yeah, give it a couple months and then see how much it is. If you find out the first month in a new house, you may have extra expenses that are not recurring though, so you got to think about that. You only need to track the recurring stuff that's going to happen every month. Kids' chores, stealth saver. We have a 5-year-old daughter, and we want to start giving her chores and pay her. Not the basic ones, but something that's challenging for her age. Any suggestions? Cleaning the room is challenging for a 5-year-old, I would think. I mean, and the younger they are, I mean, Mr. Ramsey has described it before as the kid probably not going to be doing that much of it. Like, because you're going to be in the room with the child, and, you know, she's going to put away maybe 2 stuffed animals, and basically you're going to do the rest of it. That kind of thing. But it just sets the tone for it. It's like, well, this is where when we clean our room. And over a period of time, you know, you do less and less of it, and she does more and more of it. So as far as trying to, you know, if this is some Sheldon Cooper-esque person here, some genius, and you don't want to do the basic ones, like you're talking about challenging, I say clean the room and see how challenging that is. See how much of the room she will straighten up by herself, before you have to come in and say, okay, and then we put this over here. This is where this goes, right? You know, or you can even say, what about that with this? Where does this go? And see if she can point to where it goes, or tell you where it goes. I guess 5. I guess it depends on how verbal you'll be. I guess pretty verbal at 5. You think I would remember stuff like that? I don't. My daughter started talking at a way younger age than my son did, because she grew up with 2 stepsisters that were older than her. So there was like nonstop talking going on in her house. And so, but then Max didn't have anybody except my daughter when she would be there visiting. It's 9:03. Oh, we'll do this one more. Chai Girl, like Chicago. Oh, girl. Chai Girl, ha. Okay. Break up a new home. 33 and purchase a 4-bedroom home in January for $400K with 20% down at 6.25%. Move in with my girlfriend of 3 years. Uh-oh, it said breakup. And this, my friends, is why you do not do that dumbass crap. Put in about $40K worth of renovations too. Oh my goodness gracious me. Now girlfriend and I are splitting up, of course. Why did you do that dumbass crap? I'm inclined to list a home for sale. Exactly. Because it feels awk to live in a home this big by myself. Also, I mean, could you even afford it with her? Maybe you couldn't even afford it with her contributing. Also learned that I do not handle debt well. Oh, you think? Shocker. And the mortgage looming over my head is stressing me out, especially paying $1,600 each month to interest alone. Well, you are going to pay more interest at the beginning of it. So yes, welcome to debt. This is how debt works. And this is why it's better to not do anything with debt. I figured I have three options. A, stay and maybe get roommates. B, list for sale. Sale would be the best thing to do. C, sell crypto and pay off mortgage. Dude, why did you get a mortgage if you have $400,000 worth of crypto? Dumbass. I really want to sell, but don't know what the fees would be and how much of a loss I'd be taking. You would be taking less than a loss of $400K that you have now because of that. I mean, if it all depends on whether you want to stay in the house. Doesn't sound like that would be happy memories for you. As you said, you don't need that big of a house, so you can sell it and get a 2-bedroom maybe house of your own. Theoretically, maybe you'll get the whole $40K back for the renovations. Don't know. Maybe it's appreciated since you bought it. Oh, in January, it could have appreciated by then a little bit. So yeah, you sell it, but Mr. Ramsey would tell you not to have the crypto anyway, not to have any other investments while you still have a mortgage. So if you're keeping it, yeah, you pay it off. And you move into the house you move into, whether you sell it or not. I mean, if you're going to be in step 7, if you say, even if you move into another house that you buy for completely in cash, and you want to try to be a landlord with the 4-bedroom, you can sell the crypto and pay that off, and keep that and be a landlord. I mean, that's up to you. My name is Paul, and that's between y'all. I really want to say, but how much the fees? Again, the fees are not going to be as much stupid tax as you are going to have to pay regardless. Which may not be any. If the house is appreciated, it might not be much. But yeah, there will be closing costs on it. The realtors are not in this to help you out. They are there to make money, and so there's going to be that. And of course you've lost the interest you've already paid. So yeah. As I said, home prices have not changed much this year in most areas, so we would lose 5% or about $20,000. Okay. I mean, yeah, it depends on what the renovations are as well, too, whether they bring up the amount of the house. So just depends on that. But either way, if you have $400,000 worth of crypto, I would think you can handle the loss to be out of the house, to not have to deal with that. And hey, got a great idea. Since you don't handle debt well, mortgage looming over your head and stretching you out, how about you do a little thing where you don't ever buy anything with debt ever again? You are certainly in a position to do that. So why don't you do that? You somehow made it to the Dave Ramsey subreddit. Are you not aware he's the no debt and no debt leverage guy? And no, he will not yell at you for buying a house that you put 20% down on. But it does depend on your income. And not just because you have $400,000 worth of crypto. He does not advise the crypto. He would not advise that for you. But yeah, probably I would be out of it, just because of the memories of it. I don't know some people could probably divorce themselves from that, like separate it in their mind. It's like, oh, she just happened to be here at the same time, but I still really like the house, but it doesn't sound like you do. And so I would probably just get rid of it and not be a landlord. But again, you're in a position where, yeah, you might have to lower investments, get rid of the crypto, and so forth. I would ask this person too, but what are you doing about retirement savings? So what does it say, 33? Yeah, what do you do about what's your retirement looking like now? Because you should put a bunch in there too. I would still pay the mortgage off first if you can, and then you can do, and then the rest of your life can be catching up on retirement, unless you're already caught up on it. Alrighty, what will we be talking about tomorrow? Tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, the October the 1st. Happy October, everybody. And Thursday is October 2nd. And both of those days will be the last financial streams, probably, from the old place. And that is 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time. We're doing that. And then Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the first financial stream from the new place. As long as the internet works there. Spectrum. You listening, Spectrum? You said it would be ready. You said it would be working. So we'll see. Just have to take my current equipment there and plug it in. And they said it should be fine. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about this. Worth it to pay more in escrow. Short 2 years in a row, and mortgage company has raised my monthly payment. Okay, we'll read about that. Be interesting to see if they raised it the first year or two, or if they just waited a year and didn't change it, and then when it was short 2 years in a row, then they said, okay, we'll change it to fix it. So now it won't be, maybe that's what happened there. Or maybe they had to raise it up 2 years. Who knows? But you can put more in there, I believe. You can choose to. Just have to work that out with your lender. Anyone use a debit card that reports to bureaus that actually help your score? My problem is I don't give a crap about a credit score. So I don't do that. I can even have do a thing where some kind of convoluted thing where I have to pay my rent bi-weekly. And doing it bi-weekly, that lets them report it to the credit agencies. And I don't give a crap about that, so I don't do that at all. Pay off the house. Dave would say yes. My peace of mind says yes. And why isn't that enough? Why does anything else? Why do you let nothing else would be better than Dave saying yes because of his pedigree, because of his 30-year track record, because his 20 million documented success stories, and also your peace of mind. What would possibly trump that? Nothing. So all of this is going to be bullcrap. We'll read it anyway, though. And then again, we're out of questions. Alrighty. Okay, let's go over the plugs, including the upcoming streams again. I'm Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solution Certified Financial Coach. You can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com, and we will work that out. That will happen through Google Meet probably, or some other video conferencing platform. Donations, paypal.me/Coach Steve Money. Alternatively to $Coach Steve Money. Alternatively, yet still, or Walmart gift card to that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. It works for everything. Upcoming streams, and yes, these are subject to change as well, so they can't guarantee the timeline. The Ramsey Show, After Show, though, those happen at 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, and this week it will be Wednesday and Thursday, October 1st and 2nd. That's the next 2 days from the recording of this. And the Answering Your Financial Questions streams, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, October 3rd, again, as it says here, as long as internet is working at the new place here, that Spectrum, make it happen. Plus Saturday and or Sunday, October 4th and 5th. And those would be additional 8 p.m. streams, Answering Your Financial Questions. All right, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day.